Hello and welcome to The World Today on CGTN. I'm Su Yuting in Beijing. Authorities from the Ministry of Natural Resources are holding a press conference on China's efforts to build harmony between humanity and nature. Let's go live to the briefing.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to this press conference held by the State Council Information Office. This is the embarking on the new journey, a government perspective briefing. Today, we have invited the Ministry of Natural Resources. We have invited Minister Wang Guanghua. He will brief you on the topic of building the modernization of harmony between humanity and nature, and he will also answer your questions. We also have with us Vice Minister of Natural Resources, Director of the State Oceanic Administration, Mr. Wang Hong, Zhuang Shaoqing, Vice Minister of Natural Resources, Liu Guohong, Vice Minister of Natural Resources, Guan Zhipeng, Director of the National Forestry and Grassland Administration, also National Park Administration. I will give the floor to Minister Wang Guanghua. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, good morning. It's a great pleasure to take this opportunity to meet and communicate with you. First, on behalf of the Ministry of Natural Resources and the National Forestry and Grassland Administration, thank you for your long-term care and support for the work of natural resources, forestry, and grassland. The 20th National Congress of the CPC has formulated a strategic plan for building a modern socialist country and comprehensively advancing the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. It requires that the principle that the clean waters and green mountains are invaluable assets must be firmly practiced. Development must be based on the harmony between humanity and nature. We are guided by Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. We earnestly practice Xi Jinping thought on ecological civilization, fully implementing the major tasks deployed in the 20th National Congress. We coordinate development and security. In accordance with our principle of strictly guarding the bottom line of resource security, improving the use of territorial land, promoting green and low-carbon development, and safeguarding people's rights and interests in resource assets, we actively promote the modernization featuring harmony between humanity and nature. First, we strictly safeguard the bottom line of resource security. We earnestly ensure the security of food, energy, resources, industrial chains, and supply chains. To ensure a new development paradigm is guarded by a new security architecture. On food security, we saw it that all the occupied arable land be compensated steadily and orderly. We froze the additional arable land quota for illegal occupation of arable land and promoted the stability of its total amount. We continued to carry out stringent law enforcement inspections for the protection of arable land. We publicly addressed major cases of illegal occupation. In the first half of this year, the number of such cases and the area of illegally occupied land decreased by 64% and 80.5% respectively year-on-year. Our total amount of arable land has grown for 2 consecutive years. On energy and resource security, we have comprehensively launched a new round of strategic mineral exploration campaigns. We improved the regulations for mineral exploration and mining and invigorated the mining market. In the first half of this year, the investment in solid mineral, oil, and gas exploration increased by 17.2% and 7.5% respectively year-on-year. We approved 242 new mining exploration certificates, up by 25.4% year-on-year. We achieved significant breakthroughs in mineral exploration, such as the Laizhou gold mine and in Shandong province, and the phosphorus mine in Zhaotong, Yunnan Province. On ecological security, we completed the redlining of eco-protection for the first time, making around 3.19 million square kilometers as our red line. We strengthened the management of the red line, giving occupation approval in a strict and regulated manner. We endeavored to safeguard natural ecological security. We formulated the National Park Layout Plan to build the world's largest national park system. We carried out large-scale afforestation projects and aim to afforest around 100 million Mu annually in the coming years. We have revised the overall plan for the Three North Shelter Belt project. To advance its sixth phase, we persistently promoted building a green ecological barrier in northern border areas. We promoted the rehabilitation of forests, grassland, and wetlands. We have established a forest chief scheme with nearly 1.2 million chiefs at all levels. We have published the newly adjusted list of terrestrial wildlife of important ecological, scientific, or social value, expanding greatly the scope of wildlife protection. We actively promoted the building of National Botanical Garden System. As for the security of the surveying and mapping data, we actively promoted the building of Real 3D China and have released guidelines for the standard system of the basic map for smart vehicles. Measures were adopted to facilitate new business models, such as autopilot, as long as geographic information is secured. Together with localities, we have strengthened our response toward geopolitical disasters, maritime disasters, forest and grassland fires, and pests, to ensure the safety of people's lives and property. Second, we improved the use of territorial land. We endeavored to put forward a regional economic deployment and a territorial land use system with complementarity and high-quality development. We integrated multiple land use regulations for overall planning. In the second half of this year, the CPC Central Committee and the State Council issued China's first national territorial space planning outline, approving the red lines for arable land, permanent basic farmland, ecological protection, and urban development boundaries. The overall planning of territorial land at the provincial, municipal, and county levels has been completed. The review and approval process has been underway, and for detailed plannings, we have issued documents guiding localities to formulate detailed plans, providing a legal basis for the planning approval, development, renovation, restoration, and protection of urban and rural construction projects. At the level of special planning, the State Council approved the overall plan of the Yangtze River Delta Eco-Green Integrated Development Demonstration Zone. We accelerated the formulation of space use plans for the coastal zones and nearshore waters, the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region, the Chengdu-Chongqing region strategies, and other regions, supporting the implementation of major regional development strategies. Third, we promoted green and low-carbon development. We focus on high-quality development. We strove to enhance the diversity, stability, and sustainability of ecosystems. On ensuring the factors for high-quality development, in the second half of last year and the first half of this year, we issued policies to support land and sea use, streamlined approval procedures, and improved efficiency to fully support the economic recovery. In the first half of this year, the Ministry approved the preliminary land use for major projects covering an area of 37,000, up by 138.3% year-on-year. The conversion of agricultural land to non-agricultural use and land requisition approved nationwide reached 2.144 million mu, equivalent to the same period in the past 5 years. The approved CUs for projects reached 1.371 million mu, up by 24.6% year-on-year. The supply of state-owned construction land reached 4.724 billion mu, up by 14.2% year-on-year. We implemented a conservation strategy, issued new guideposts for industrial projects, promoted the building of green mines. Regarding ecological protection and restoration, we implemented major plans 51 integrated protection and restoration projects for mountains, rivers, forests, farmland, lakes, grasslands, deserts, and seas, including 7 new projects this year. We advanced the Blue Bay Environment Improvement Initiative, coastal protection and restoration projects, and special actions for the protection and restoration of mangroves, carrying out restoration actions of coastlines and coastal wetlands. The area of mangroves in China has increased by 75,000 mu, an increase of more than 100,000 mu. In border and deep sea areas, we have been promoted the inspection that we have built the scientific research station in Antarctic. Now, we are planning the 40th Antarctic scientific research, and we will launch the 13th Arctic scientific research. With the support of the deep ocean trading technology, we will build a technology center. Fourth, we safeguard the people's rights and interests in natural resources assets. We endeavor to realize, safeguard, and develop the fundamental interests of the overwhelming majority of the people, accelerating the reform in the field of natural resource assets and strengthening the rule of law. We coordinated reform of the natural resource property rights system. We promoted the deepening of rural land system reform and deepened the pilot projects for the entry of collectively owned construction land in rural areas into the market. We established and implemented a unified investigation and monitoring system for natural resources and a system for registration and certification. Incorporating land contractual management rights and land management rights into unified real estate registration, and promoted innovative measures such as delivery of houses, land, and certificates at the same time. We revised and formulated mineral resources laws, national park laws, and other regulations, stressing the rule of law, conducting strict inspections and law enforcement. Next, the Ministry of Natural Resources and National Forestry, the Grassland Administration, will continue to focus on building a new development paradigm and make greater contributions to comprehensively build China into a modern socialist country with concrete actions. That's the end of my introduction. Now, my colleagues and I are ready to answer your questions. Thank you.
谢谢王部长。现在请大家提问。提问之前，请通报一下自己所在的新闻单位。
Please identify yourself before asking.
第2排那位男士。
您好，我是那个中央广播电视总台央视记者。我的问题呢，就是说是矿产资源是经济社会发展的重要物质基础，然后建设现代化产业体系，离不开矿产资源的高效利用和开发。然后呢，请问呢，在自然资源部在推进国家重要能源、矿产资源国内勘探开发和增储上产这个方面有哪些举措和进一步的安排？谢谢。
What consideration and arrangements are being made?
这位这个央视记者所提的问题呢非常重要，这也是我们自然资源部
Well, it's a
当
very
前和今后
important
的时期
question.
着力推动
It
的一
is
项
also an important
重要
task
工
that
作
the。Ministry of Natural Resources
今年2
will
会
be
期间
promoting
的部
at
长通道，我也
present
回
and in
答
the
了
future.
简要的回答了这个问题。但这个经过这
Actually,
半年多的工
This
作呢，我
question
们有
has
有
already
新
been
的进展。
addressed previously, but
所
there
以我
has
们
been
会
new
同有关部
progress.
门啊，
Together with relevant departments, we thoroughly implement the guiding principles of General Secretary Xi Jinping's important expositions and instructions on ensuring the security of national energy resources, focusing on promoting domestic exploration and development of important energy and mineral resources, and increasing reserves and production. In accordance with the principles of laying solid foundations, prospering the mining market, strengthening scientific and technological support, we carefully organize and implement a new round of strategic mine exploration action. First, strengthen major foundational work. The first is to carry out national surveys on mineral resources. Investigations have been carried out on all 163 kinds of minerals and more than 45,000 mining areas with proven resource reserves across the country, and a comprehensive understanding of the quantity, quality, structure, spatial distribution, and development and utilization of various minerals in the country. The second is to strengthen the basic geological survey of mineral resources. We delineate basic survey areas and key survey areas and intensify the investigation of mineral resources, delineate key exploration areas and in-depth parts of important mines, carry out prospecting predictions and ore body positioning, and increase efforts to strike deep and find blindness. Since the 14th five-year plan period, 124 prospecting areas have been preliminarily delineated, and 102 prospecting target areas have been submitted to provide guidance for private investments to carry out commercial exploration. Second, strengthen the policy supply to support the exploration and development of mineral resources. First is to improve the management system for the collection and management of mining rights transfer proceeds. The collection method was changed from one-time collection to annual collection based on sales revenue, mainly during mine production, which not only protects the rights and interests of the state owners of mineral resources, but also effectively reduces the burden on enterprises. Second is to improve the registration management of mineral resource exploration and exploitation. Implementation of comprehensive exploration of mineral resources is encouraged. We revitalize the secondary market for prospecting rights and relax the limit on the transfer period of prospecting rights obtained through bidding, auction, and listing. Streamline the application requirements and approval process for mining right registration and improve the efficiency of approval. Third is to deepen the reform of mineral resource management. We allow crack resources, deep resources, etc. to transfer mining rights to the same subject by agreement. Adjust the proportion of the area of deduction for the continuation of exploration rights, refine the integration system of oil and gas exploration and production, extend the retention period of exploration rights, and improve the competitive transfer of mining rights, etc., to promote exploration and development of mineral resources. Third, strengthen scientific and technological support. We demonstrated a number of new technologies and methods, promote the implementation of relevant major scientific and technological projects, and promote the special implementation of national key research and development plans. The Geological Prospecting Award was set up in the Natural Resource Science and Technology Award selection to incentivize geological prospecting teams. Going forward, we will continue to optimize and improve relevant policies with relevant departments to create a good environment for various social entities to invest in mineral exploration and development, for example. We will guide all localities to promote the transfer of clean mines, improve service efficiency by strengthening the preparatory work for the transfer of mining rights, and strengthen the guarantee of land, forest, and grass use. We will accelerate the approval of key mining projects, stimulate domestic demand and stabilize growth, and take effective measures to solidly advance a new round of prospecting and breakthrough strategic actions. Thank you. Next question.
谢谢主持人。21世纪经济报道记者提问。党的20大报告提出呢，要以国
The 20th National Progress of the CPC emphasized the development of the maritime economy, the protection of the important ecological projects. What progress has been made in ecological rehabilitation, and what key projects will be conducted? Thank you.
大家都知道，
Well, as we all know, the main contradiction in our society has become the contradiction between the people's ever-growing needs for a better life and unbalanced and inadequate development. Creating a beautiful ecological space is one of our goals. Since the 18th CPC Congress, we have thoroughly implemented Xi Jinping thought on ecological civilization, strengthened planning guidance and overall structuring, accelerated the implementation of major projects for the protection and restoration of important ecosystems, and strived to improve the diversity, stability, and sustainability of ecosystems. Progress has been made in two areas. On the one hand, we built a strategic pattern of land space ecological protection and restoration. In the National Territory and Space Planning Outline and National Major Ecosystem Protection and Restoration Major Project Master Plan, it has been defined that the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau Ecological Barrier area, the key ecological area of the Yellow River, the key ecological areas of the Yangtze River, Northeast Forest Zone, Northern Sand Prevention Zone, Southern Hilly and Mountainous Zone, Coastal Zone are clearly defined as the what we call 3 districts and 4 belts. We introduced the layout of major projects and key tasks, such as ecological protection and restoration, nature reserves, and biodiversity protection. On the other hand, we coordinated the implementation of major ecological protection and restoration projects. We have implemented 51 integrated protection and restoration projects of mountains, rivers, forests, fields, lakes, grasses, and sands across the 3 districts and 4 belts, coordinated various ecological elements, implemented ecological protection and restoration according to relatively major natural geographical units such as watersheds, and realized systemic governance, comprehensive governance, and source governance covering 80 million mu. In 2022, the Shanshui China project won the first batch of the world's top 10 ecological restoration flagship projects of the United Nations as one of the most promising, ambitious, and inspiring examples of large-scale ecological restoration in the world. For example, in the Shanshui project in the Wuliang-Suhai Basin, according to the different natural geographical units and dominant ecosystem types in the basin, the local government deployed and implemented 35 sub-projects in 7 categories, including comprehensive desert control and mine geological environment comprehensive control, and completed desert control, grassland ecological restoration, open pits treatment, artificial wetland restoration, and water and soil erosion treatment. The overall water quality of Wuliang-Suhai Lake has been improved, and bird species and the number increased significantly. In addition, in recent years, we have focused on the trunk and tributaries of the Yangtze River, the surrounding areas of Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei, the Fenway Plain, and the Yellow River Basin to promote the ecological restoration of historical mines in an orderly manner, and have completed a total of 4.35 million mu of treatment area. We adhere to land-sea coordination and river-sea linkage, carry out in-depth special actions for marine ecological protection and restoration, coastal zone protection and restoration projects, and other major projects, and cumulatively rehabilitated and restored 2,000 kilometers of coastline and 600,000 mu of coastal wetlands. Going forward, we will strictly control and protect the National Ecological Protection Red Line in accordance with the harmonious coexistence between man and nature. By the end of the 14th five-year plan period, the ecological protection and restoration area will be expanded by more than 30 million mu. The mine ecological restoration project will be implemented. The restoration area will be 2.8 million mu. The marine ecological protection and restoration project will be implemented, and 400 kilometers of coastline and 300,000 mu of coastal wetland will be rehabilitated. Thank you. Next question.
谢谢主持人。中国自然资源报记者提问：我们知道国土空间规划是整合了主体功能区规划、土地利用规划。
National land spatial planning is a new type of integrated planning that combines the planning of key functional areas, land use, and urban-rural planning. How can the new advantages of national land spatial planning, which integrates multiple planning aspects, be leveraged to shape new driving forces and advantages for high-quality urban and rural development? Well, actually, Minister Wang has already explained quite a lot on the multiple planning integration. Multiple plan integration of land space planning must not only integrate the advantages of the original planning, but also base itself on the new stage and implement new development philosophies so as to create new kinetic energy and new advantage for building a new development pattern and promoting high-quality development. The first is the advantage of ecological priority and green development. It is necessary to plan economic and social development from the perspective of harmonious coexistence between man and nature and create new momentum of growth. In recent years, we have been coordinating and delineating the 3 districts and 3 belts in the national land space planning to coordinate development and security and guide urban and rural areas to accelerate the formation of a spatial pattern and green development methods and lifestyles that save resources and protect the environment, which enhances the resilience of land space and improves regional quality, viability, capacity, and holding capacity. Second is the advantage of regional coordination and open development. We coordinate the implementation of national strategies such as the main functional zone strategy, major regional strategy, coordinated regional development strategy, new urbanization strategy, and rural revitalization strategy on the one map of national land and space planning and optimize the allocation of resource elements with city clusters and metropolitan areas as the main body, forming an integrated development spatial layout with regional synergy, urban-rural integration, and complementary advantages, and a multi-center, networked, open, and intensive urban pattern, effectively supporting the needs of building a new development pattern and common prosperity and improving regional synergy and development momentum and competitiveness. Third is the advantage of people-centered growth and shaping a high-quality lifestyle. We give full play to the role of multi-plan integration system in terms of system governance and source governance. We coordinated urban and rural production to meet the development needs in the post-COVID area. We coordinate urban and rural production, life, ecology, and safety needs in the overall planning and detailed planning of land space and use community as basic units to optimize urban service functions and spatial structures. We build a convenient living circle that is suitable for living, working, traveling, studying, and caregiving, and promote the treatment of urban diseases through urban cell therapy to effectively improve the people's sense of gain, happiness, and security. Fourth, the advantage of shaping a beautiful land based on the characteristics of resource endowment. In this round of compilation of land space planning, we require all localities to protect the diversity of regional characteristics, like protecting their eyes. We encourage localities to explore regional, natural, historical, cultural, and landscape characteristic resources, shape regional comparative advantages, and change the same look for 1,000 cities of industrial standardization and enhance regional influence, innovation, and cohesion. Fifth is the advantage of integrating technology and policies to ensure effective implementation. We have established an implementation, supervision, evaluation, and early warning system for land space planning based on the real-world three-dimensional China and an implementation assessment mechanism so as to ensure that the high-standard urban planning blueprint is translated into a high-quality urban development reality. Thank you. Next question.
谢谢主持人。人民日报记者，我们都知道这个耕地保护是国之大者，牢牢守住18亿亩耕地
Protecting arable land is of great importance to the country, and safeguarding the red line of arable land is a long-term task that requires joint efforts from all parties. What progress has been made, and what will be the future measures?
谢谢人民日报记者的提问。
Well, thank you for the question. Arable land is the lifeblood of grain production and the foundation of the sustainable development of the Chinese nation. General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out that arable land is the most precious resource of our country and has repeatedly emphasized the need to take tough measures to ensure that 1.8 billion mu of cultivated land is well protected. The protection of cultivated land is a major political task. We will promote the implementation of the responsibility of the party and government of the protection and tighten the main responsibility of local party committees and governments at all levels. Since last year, we have actively coordinated and cooperated with the National Development Reform Commission and other departments to promote the integration of cultivation land protection, assessment and food security assessment. The Central Committee has already issued the methods on the assessment, making comprehensive stipulations on the assessment subject, content, steps, and application of assessment results. The overall system and structure of the assessment work has been basically established. We will promote the assessment in terms of the implementation of the accountability system for farmland protection and food safety by the party committees and governments of each province. We promote both restrictions and incentives, making issues of crossing cultivated land red lines a veto element, and clarify the corresponding punishment measures to make the red line of cultivated land production an untouchable high-voltage line. We will ensure that the results of the assessment is objective and fair. We will also enhance the leverage of assessment results and make the results important criterion for the promotion and treatment of officials. We will also conduct economic punishment or rewarding in accordance with the results of assessment. Currently, we are working with relevant departments, provincial party committees, and government leaders to sign letters of responsibility for farmland protection and food security, and make commitments to the Party Central Committee and the State Council. Going forward, we will continue to actively cooperate with relevant departments to consider and draft the supporting mechanisms and regulations on the assessment to make the assessment be implemented as quickly as possible, so as to earnestly implement the accountability system for party and government officials and ensure that the Chinese people have a firm grasp of its own rights. Thank you. Next question.
谢谢主持人。中国日报记者提问：近年来，我国不断加大荒漠化防治力度，把防沙治沙作为荒漠化防治的主要任务。 In
recent years, China has redoubled its efforts in desertification control, taking desertification prevention and control as a primary task, and successfully carried out a number of key ecological projects, such as the 3 North Shelter Belt Program. Can you introduce the progress of the effort and the plan for the follow-up work?
Thank you for your question. This is the 54th anniversary of the 3 North Program. After several generations of efforts, especially after the 18th CPC Congress, the program has achieved historic achievement. We have afforested 480 million mu, addressed degraded grassland for 1.28 billion mu. We have achieved the historic transition from sending people out and bringing sand out. It is proven that a decision to build the program of the belt of the Three North Belt is being correct and very visionary. On June the 6th, General Secretary Xi Jinping has held the seminar on promoting the key ecological projects such as the Three North Shield Belt program. He stressed that it is very relevant to the ecological security of China, power a strength building and sustainable development of a Chinese nation. He also asked us to take our responsibility, to not be afraid of difficulties, and persistently making new contribution and miracles of our efforts to prevent and address the sand issue. As the Ministry of Responsibility, we will take our mission, fulfill our mission, and advance the Three North program. We will focus our force and make great efforts in the three landmark battles. First, the major base, the battle of major base of Yellow River, involving Shanxi, Inner Mongolia, Shanxi, Gansu, Ningxia provinces. We will focus on the management of Maosu Desert, Kubchi Desert, Ulanbuhe Desert, and improve photovoltaic development to control desertification and address the ecological hazard of desertification and salinization, providing ecological barrier for the high-quality development of the Bay Areas of the Yellow River. Second, we will fight the two major battles against Sanding Horchin and Husandak, mainly involving Hebei, Inner Mongolia, Liaoning, Jilin, Heilongjiang provinces. They are very close to Beijing, our capital. We will significantly deploy major ecological protection and restoration projects to achieve full coverage of the desertified land in this area and address the source of the land and build ecological barrier to maintain food security and tourism protection. Third, we will fight the battle of Heshi Corridor, edge of Taklamakan Desert, mainly involving Inner Mongolia, Gansu, Qinghai, Xinjiang provinces. It is an area of intense natural sand coverage. We will strengthen our management on cross-border desert. In particular, we will strengthen the restoration of degraded forest, grassland, and wetlands to ensure the source of sand does not further expand. Recently, we will work with localities and other provinces to have a good beginning to launch a new batch of important projects for the Three North program. Next question.
谢谢。北京青年报记者提问：
Thank you.
党的20大报告中提出要推进以国家公园为主体的自然保护地体系建设。那我们注意到，现在我国已经设立了首批的国家公园，目前公园建设都取得了哪些进展？下一步的重点工作是什么？谢谢。
The 20th National Congress of CPC proposed the building of the national park-based nature reserve system. What progress has been made in the construction of the national parks? And what are the key tasks for the next step? Thank you for your support and care for national parks. National parks are among our top priorities and are the significant institutional innovation of ecological civilization. They are vivid examples of implementing Xi Jinping thought on ecological civilization, an embodiment for realizing the value of ecological products. Two major achievements have been made. First, we have formulated the national park layout and planned 49 candidate areas for national parks, covering 10.3% of the country's soil. with over 5,000 species of wild vertebrates and 29,000 species of higher plants, protecting over 80% of the country's key protected wildlife and their habitats. Through the building of national parks, we have protected the area with the most important natural ecosystems, unique natural landscapes, precious natural heritage, and rich biodiversity in China. We will pass on great legacy for our later generations. It will directly benefit over 400 counties in 28 provinces and the 56 ethnic groups. It will create a beautiful picture of national parks and share the ecological well-being brought by the national parks. First, the first batch national parks has been fruitful. Among them, the Shanjiangyuan National Park has achieved overall protection of ecological systems in the headstreams of the Yangtze River, Lancang rivers. The population of Tibetan antelopes has recovered to over 70,000. We are now integrating our resources. We have established a research center for pandas, especially wild pandas. We have protected 70% of the wild pandas, and we have built 13 ecological corridors for local giant pandas. We have built an integration development institution on protecting the Northeast China tigers and leopards. Right now, we have more than 50 tigers and 60 tigers of the. We have achieved the building of gibbon research centers. Now we have 6 benches of gibbons. There are 37 of them. We have achieved the unification of ecological protection, green development, and development of well-being. In the next step, we will have our efforts on 3 fronts. First, we will enact the national park law. Second, we will build the first batch of national parks. Then we will advance the building of new national parks. Friends, in August this year, we will host the 2nd National Park Forum in Qinghai. So hereby, I invite all of you to visit our national parks. Let's make joint efforts to build a beautiful China and achieve modernization, featuring harmony between humanity and nature. The 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China emphasized the development of the maritime economy, the protection of the marine ecological environment, and the acceleration of building a strong maritime country. How is the progress of the related work? What are the next steps and arrangements?
Thank you for the question. General Secretary Xi Jinping attaches high importance to work relating to the ocean, and we have been earnestly studying and implementing the strategic developments of the 20th CPC Congress on accelerating the construction of a strong maritime country and actively planning to break new ground. First is to promote the high-quality development of the marine economy. In 2022, the national marine GDP was 9,462.8 billion yuan, accounting for 7.8% of total GDP. Among that, the emerging marine industry maintained a rapid growth trend. The amount of newly undertaken existing orders for the offshore engineering equipment manufacturing industry increased by 175.9% and 34.6% year-on-year. And the power generation of offshore wind power increased by 116.2% year-on-year. The first megawatt scale generation unit was launched for the first time, and the seawater desalination project has been further expanded. The second is to strengthen the protection and utilization of marine resources. Since the 20th CPC Congress, we have continued to strictly control land reclamation, strictly protect uninhabited islands, strictly abide by the bottom line of the mainland's natural coastline retention rate, and continue to optimize the pattern and order of marine protection and development. From January to May 2023, 10 suspected illegal land reclamation were discovered, about 2.19 hectares. 4 suspected illegal use of islands, or 0.81 hectares. Under the premise of strictly adhering to the bottom line of marine ecological security, we will ensure the use of sea and islands for major projects and livelihood projects. This year, we have submitted 17 projects to the State Council involving around 134 billion yuan. Third is to improve ocean observation and early warning capabilities. We continue to promote the global three-dimensional ocean observation network project, forming a comprehensive land, sea, air, and sky observation system integrating ocean station networks, radar networks, buoy networks, seabed observation networks, volunteer ships, section surveys, and satellite remote sensing. With the implementation of the CHIP project for ocean forecasting, and significant progress has been made in independent innovation. The Mazu series of early warning models have realized independent operation. And this has been solely independently developed by China. Fourth, deeply participate in global ocean governance. We actively develop blue partnerships, promote the implementation of the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and constructively participate in the international agreement on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biodiversity in areas beyond national jurisdiction under the framework of the United Nations and the International Seabed Area Minerals negotiations on sea-related rules, such as resource development regulations. We take the lead in participating in the U.S. Decade of Marine Science for Sustainable Development Action, and was awarded the first large-scale scientific plan in the field of deep-sea habitats under the UN framework to promote the conservation and sustainable use of deep-sea biodiversity. And this was included in the Decade of Marine Science of the United Nations. We promote the building of a community of ocean, a human and ocean community with a shared future. China's 39th Arctic scientific expedition team successfully completed its various tasks and returned to China on board the Xuelong 2 ship and the Xuelong ship. On the 12th of July, which is tomorrow, China's 13th Arctic Ocean Scientific Expedition team will set off from Shanghai on the Xuelong 2 icebreaker to carry out on-site investigation tasks. Going forward, we will fully, accurately, and comprehensively implement the new development philosophy in accordance with the deployment of the 20th Party Congress, adhere to the overall planning of land and sea, vigorously improve the level of conservation and intensive use of marine resources, focus on building a modern marine industrial system, and promote the high-quality development of the marine economy to make new contributions to the building of a strong maritime country. Thank you. Next question.
谢谢主持人。南方都市报记者提问。测绘地理信息是重要的数据要素。
Geoinformation is an important data element and also one of the key elements that the ministry strives to strengthen. Could you please explain the deployments that have been made in this regard? How will geoinformation play a role in the conservation and utilization of natural resources and in supporting high-quality economic and social development and contribute to the building of a beautiful China?
谢谢南方都市报记者的提问。
Thank you for your question.
当前全球数字化发展
Currently, global digital development is
我们正
accelerating.
在加快
We are also accelerating the building of a digital China.
特别强调
General Secretary Xi Jinping
时空
stressed
信息
that
定位
the
导航服务已经成为
spatial
重要的
temporal
新型
information
事实
and digital information, geo-information has become important infrastructure.
要求
The
推进
CPCCC
实
has
体
made
三维
important
中国建设
arrangement.
加快北斗规模化应用
The building of
自然资料部啊
real-world
重
3D
点
models
从
of
4
China
个方面
and
来
spatial
推动
temporal
落
big
实
data platforms.
一个呢是
The
为
ministry
数字中
will
国建设打造
base our
统一
efforts
的
on 4 fronts.
时空基地
First, we will
构
build a
建基于
unified
北斗的
spatial temporal
全国
framework
卫星导
for the
航
construction of
定
digital
位
China.
基准在一张网
We will establish a
加快实景三维
nationwide
中国
network of
和
satellite
时空
navigation
大
positioning
数据
base
平台建
stations
设
based on the
来实
Beidou
现
navigation system
数字空间与现实空间的
so
互联
that
互
we
通
can achieve real-time
二是
and
为高质量发
interaction
展提
between
供
digital space
丰富的
and
数
physical
据要
space.
素保障
Second,
来
we
更
will
好
provide
支撑自然
abundant
资源
data
管理
elements to
助
support
能
high-quality
政府管理
development
决策
so as
助力
to
数字
support
经济
natural
发展
resources management,
满足
empower government
百姓
decision-making,
美好生活需要
facilitate the development of
三
digital
是
economy,
为地理信息
and
产
meet
业
the
发
needs
展
of people's
营造优良环境
well-beings.
建
Third,
立
we will
健全
create
测绘地理
a
信息数
favorable
据基
environment
础
for the development
加
of the
快数
geoinformation
据供
industry.
给支持数据规范
We
流
will
通
strengthen
促
the
进
supply
新
of
业态
data
健康发展
to build a
四是为构建
sound
新安全格局
development of this industry.
守住
Fourth,
测绘地理信息数据安全底
we
线
will adhere to the bottom line
创
of
新数据
geoinformation
安全
management
技术
in building a
提
new
升
security
行业
architecture
监管服务水
that
平
involves addressing data application
那么关
security
于如何更好运用
and
测绘
improving
地理信
industry
息成果
supervision
来
and
服务经济
service
社会发
levels
展重点呢
on
是
how
两个方
to
面
on how
一方面
geoinformation can
是
support
支撑
economic
自然资
and
源
social
保护
development,
和
serve
利
the
用
needs of industries,
以实景
support
三维中
net
国数据
resources
作为
management,
基础的底板
and serve the
以
development
实时的
ecological
卫
civilization.
星遥感数据作为支撑
First,
来建立
we have
起
a
地理实体
real-time
与自然资源实体
remote
不
sensing
动产实体等要素之间的
technology
时空关联
and
来实现
achieve
呢
the
自然资源
correlation
的调查监测
between different
确
areas,
权登记和开发利用
achieve the
国土空
utilization,
间规划和
registration
用途管制
of the
生态系统保
images
护与修
to
复
support the
自然
protection
资源
of
督
natural
查执
resources
法
and
等
territorial
工
space,
作全领域的覆
inspection
盖
and law
全
enforcement
链条的贯通
of natural
全过
resources
程的
to
监
achieve
管来服务
whole
支撑
process
美丽中国建设
supervision to support
比如
the
我
building
们
of
自
a
然资
beautiful
源部作
China.
为牵头主用户的
For
国产在轨
example,
卫星呢，现在目
as
前呢
the
有25颗
relevant
我们可以
authority
对全部落地国土
the ministry
实现2
can
米分辨
achieve
率影像的
2
季
meter
度全
resolution
覆盖，亚米分辨率
image
影像年度
being
全覆盖
full with full coverage.
可以准确及时掌握
We
我国陆
can
地表面
have
空
the
间的
we
变
can
化，
know the
来更好支
changes
撑自然
of
资
our
源
social
和国土空间的
to
保
so
护
that
利
we
用
can
的
better support
动态
the
监管。
protection and the
另一方
utilization
面
of
是促
our
进
land.
经济社会高质
On
量
the
发
other
展，
hand,
推进测绘地理信息数
promoting
据
the
和其
economic
他生产
and
要素
social
的耦合
development in a
与
high
协
quality
同
manner.
来实现呢各类生产要素在时空上的
We will achieve,
快
we'll
捷、
make all
精
elements,
准、
all
智
factors
能的匹配，来
being
提
matched,
升呢资源配置的效率，
improve the
促
efficiency
进绿
of
色地产转
resources
型发展。比
allocation
如测绘地
and
理信
improve
息作
the
为地理空间的
transformation
基底
of the
和数据
industries.
融合的平台，面向各行各业服务千
It
家万户。
is it is society-oriented. It can make important contribution to intelligent transportation and other city governance, prevention of disasters, and other areas. Next, we will meet the new requirement of high-quality development and make new contribution to promote comprehensively the geoinformation course and build a modernization featuring harmony between humanity and nature.
谢谢主持人。央广记者提问。之前王部长提到，去年我国印发了首部全国国土空间规划纲要。那么，请问在新征程上，多规合一改革
The Central Committee of the Communist Party and State Council has mentioned that it has issued the document establishing the national land spatial planning system and supervising its implementation. What new measures are being taken to deepen the reform of integrating multiple planning aspects in the new journey?
Well, to deepen the reform of integrating multiple plans into one in the new journey means we need to focus on implementing the guiding principles of General Secretary Xi Jinping's important instructions. First is to further improve the land space planning system in accordance with requirements in the report of the 20th Party Congress, i.e. building a regional economic layout and land space system with complementary advantages and high-quality development, improving the level of urban planning, construction, and governance, and building a livable, business-friendly, beautiful village and other requirements. After completing the provincial, city, and county level overall planning of land space, we will accelerate the preparation of special land and space planning for development units across administrative regions to more effectively support the construction of a more development pattern. At the same time, we will adapt to the needs of urban renewal, rural revitalization, and rural-urban integration. In the stock era, integrate spatial policy resources such as planning and land, and guide local governments to improve the detailed planning system of integrated multiple plans into one and accelerate the formation of a new path of high-quality development with intensive greening. Second is to further improve the main functional area system and policy system in accordance with the requirements of improving the system of main functional areas and optimizing the development pattern of national land and space specified in the report of the 20th Party Congress. The implementation plan for key main functional areas of the country will be compiled. We will improve the implementation of the policy system for main functional areas, better leverage regional comparative advantages for border areas, important ecological areas, and other areas to coordinate development and security, and promote the implementation of the main functional area strategy and major regional strategies, coordinate regional development strategies and new urbanization strategies as a whole. Third is to further improve the planning, implementation, supervision, and utilization control system. It is necessary to thoroughly implement the important instructions of unified base map, unified standard, unified planning, and unified platform. We will accelerate the digital and intelligent transformation, strengthen the construction of planning standard system, establish a list system for special planning, improve the national land and space planning implementation supervision, evaluation and early warning network, and improve the planning dynamic maintenance mechanism to ensure consistency of policy and implementation. Fourth is to further strengthen the construction of the supporting system for planning undertakings. It is necessary to actively promote the legislation of land and space planning and improve the multi-plan integration space planning standard system. It is necessary to strengthen the construction of disciplines related to land and space planning and cultivation of innovative talents, deepen the reform of the qualification management of planning units and the system of registered planners, strengthen the guidance and management of industry organizations, and create a more favorable environment for the healthy development of the planning system.
Well,
thank you all for coming. This is the end of today's press briefing. Thank you.
You're watching the live pictures here in Beijing, where